What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Matt Peet Marketing Podcast. My next guest is a rocker turned entrepreneurial coach, and she's done dozens of copy and marketing consulting contracts under her own freelance banner. She's coached hundreds of creative freelancers through finding clients and landing and confidently fulfilling on gigs, strategizing the marketing for, and written multi-million-dollar launches, including 2 during COVID-19. She's made over $50 million in direct-to-consumer sales with her work. She's driven the crowd wild and got standing ovations with speaking and singing engagements. And yes, I believe that counts. And she is just getting started. Welcome to the Matt Peet Marketing Podcast, Angie Colee.
It's Angie Colee.
Sorry, I said it wrong. You know, I'm going to leave it in there because I want people to understand. I caught it. I said Cole. It's Colee. This is a good plug. Anybody who wants to look her up, Angie Colee, it's Colee. See, now they know why I said it wrong, and they're going to be better find you.
And it's deceptively simple. It's deceptively simple. So I totally get it. It happens all the time.
I even had her say her name for me, everybody listening. Had her say her name 16 seconds before I started this. And then I said it, and I was like, that's wrong. It's Colee. And I caught it. But I'm going to leave it in there because that shows that we're all human. We all make mistakes, and I'm going to roll with it because done's better than perfect, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, and Angie, I know that you sent me over an awesome bio. Super. I didn't have the time to read it all because you've done so many cool things. Creative marketing strategies and promos for companies like Masterclass, Copy Chief, The Hustle, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I love, Product Launch Formula, which is awesome. I mean, so many more things that I had a chance to mention in here, but what's your marketing passion?
It is copywriting and messaging. And that's always, I originally started my career thinking I was going to be in TV developments, script writing, screenwriting, creating TV shows. And I kind of fell into copywriting by accident. But to me, it's almost the same thing. Like I get to slip into Robert Kiyosaki and write as him for a little while. I get to slip into Jeff Walker's voice and pretend for a little while and write as these other people. And so I really love that aspect of what I do.
I absolutely love the marketing aspect of copywriting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of or what your thoughts are on Jim Edwards. Have you heard of him?
I've met him.
Really?
Yeah.
I have his Copywriting Secrets book, and I totally nerd out on, like, I'm nowhere near being a professional copywriter, but oh my gosh, like I have his funnel scripts software that I use for coming up with ideas. Like, again, it's not as good as somebody like yourself sitting down because you know all the ins and outs of copywriting and but it gets me started from like a newbie perspective. But I'm super excited for this call because I love copywriting.
Well, and the great thing is in business, you don't have to be a master copywriter to get some really, really great results. Like you could bring in a master copywriter to help you skyrocket the results you're already getting, but what you can do on your own is actually pretty incredible.
Awesome. That's encouraging. I appreciate that. Okay. Awesome. Now for everybody who watches the podcast or listens to the podcast, they know what's coming next. It's the pod deck question. Random deck of non-specific card or questions here. So I'm going to draw a random one. I'm not looking right here. I've only had to skip a couple because sometimes it goes a little too far. Let's see what we got here. What do you consider the most overrated virtue?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh man, you're going to throw me for a loop.
And we can draw a separate one if you want. If you can't feel like you come up with a good enough answer.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I can't pick a good answer without like picking on somebody, and I don't want to pick on a virtue of all things, you know?
I'll draw a separate one. Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, every now and again, I land on one that's just it's not a good fit, and you got to keep going. That's totally fine. If you had someone following you all around all of the time, what would you have them do?
Write down any quotable quotes that I could put into like I don't know if you're familiar with Louise Hay or not, but she once had this illustrated card deck of like little motivational sayings, and I want to do that someday. Only the difference is she was like motherly and sweet, and hers were like, I'm wonderful and I manifest this money, and like and I tend to stand up on a chair and be like, you can do the thing. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I swear on your podcast?
I'll make this one explicit so everybody knows.
All right. I should have asked beforehand.
No, you're totally fine.
Usually mine are a little bit more rock oriented and they involve a lot more F-bombs, but they generally equate to like, yes, you can do the thing. And I don't pay attention to what I say when I'm in the moment like that. So I never capture these quotes. So like I would want them to follow me to a stage where I'm giving a talk or like a group coaching event, and especially, and write down any wisdom nuggets I happen to drop so that I can actually use it again later.
That's super smart. And there's definitely a target market out there for that. Like you said, what you say, Louise Hay?
Louise Hay. Yep.
Louise Hay. Her target market is going to be different from yours. But I mean, there's people out there like, oh man, I really love Louise's stuff, but I want to fit my kind of feel a little more. And that might be you. So, I mean, that would be super cool. And, you know, I was thinking about it as you were saying, it's like, I love that you came from the aspect of writing down your copywriter and yours like writing down my stuff. Cause my brain automatically went to, I want somebody to follow me around video, everything.
Oh,
so they
nice.
can see, because I like the Gary V style, you know, and then work backwards from that because I come from a video background. So that's naturally how my brain thinks. I think that's super cool to see how our brains naturally went to that. All right, Angie, what's something you see people doing in their marketing that makes you cringe?
Ooh, like the high pressure, false scarcity BS.
Ooh.
I've only got 20 spots in my online course. I call BS on you. Either you cheaped out on your membership platform and you only have 20 spaces, or you have infinite spaces to fill, but you're trying to implement scarcity in a poorly thought out manner. Now, there's something to be said that you only have a limited number of people that you want to teach. Like if you're personally leading a workshop and you can only give feedback to so many people, that's legit scarcity. But like if you tell me I've got an online course that I'm starting and I've only got 20 seats, you're already triggering my BS meter. And I don't really like where it's going.
Oh, I love that, because I think people do that too, because everybody in the online space is like, oh, you got to create scarcity, you know, you got to create that urgency. And people do that. Like you said, it's like, I created a course a while back now, and like I was just testing it out. I was like, I'm just going to have 100 spots open because I didn't want to sell 10,000 spots. I know it's not going to happen, but I want to sell a lot of spots. And then like everybody jump in like, oh, this course is crap, or like that. It's like, I'm going to start off smaller and then work on it and then open up, then just make it infinite spots. Like it was like a testing ground kind of thing.
Well, and see, that's actually legit scarcity, because you say like, this is a pilot program.
Yeah. I call it the beta launch.
I want to cap it at 100 people so that so I'm not overwhelmed and I can make sure everybody gets the attention that they need. That's legit scarcity. But yeah, I see people out there that they just use the high pressure sales stuff that doesn't really make you feel good.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Like, I love that, because again, it's kind of like people, they hear marketers talking about how you have to reach out to everybody. So they go in Facebook groups and they cold reach out to people. It's like, okay, you can't do that either. I feel like it's the same thing. They hear you got to create urgency, so they make up urgency that doesn't need to be there. It's like, I'm not getting anything extra for this being scarce.
And there's a bunch of legit ways to add scarcity. Like you said, I want to cap this so that I can make sure that the program is manageable and I can spread the time around and make sure everybody gets the attention they need. We're starting the course on Monday, and there's a time-based element attached to this. We move weekly through modules. So I'm closing down registration so that everybody can start on Monday. That's a legit scarcity tactic too. If it's a webinar where like you do have a limited amount of seating, and Zoom does have a hard cap to the number of people that can be in a room, that's legit scarcity. If this is the last time you're offering a program and you're closing enrollment on this day and then it goes away, legit scarcity. And legit urgency and reason to act. So there's always a way to do it that's authentic and true, that isn't just BS like buy now or else.
Yeah, I appreciate you expanding on that so people know what to do to create scarcity. That's a really good place for people to start. So Angie, if you were to start marketing for a new business today and you only had $1,000 in your budget, how would you spend that to get some more clients?
Ooh, interesting. I would probably spend it getting into a room or a conference where I could make connections with people face to face, because for me, that has always been the fastest avenue to new client business, working with people that like working with me. And I can short circuit that process and kind of turn it from outbound marketing, right? Cold outreach, to inbound marketing, where people want to work with me because they've met me, because we've had face-to-face conversations. We geeked out about business a little bit. I suggested maybe they try this tactic. They go, oh, she's a smart lady. Wait, she's a copywriter. I need a copywriter. Just like you did at the beginning of this call. I think I need a copywriter. Let's talk later.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that is my weakest point of marketing. By in-person stuff. Like, I'm not bad at in person, but my brain automatically, when I think, oh, I need to market, it's like, okay, well, let's find out a ways to run some display ads or some Facebook ads or some Instagram ads. But like a lot of the stuff that I've bought over the years is because I've met the person in person, or like
There's
I've
a lot
had
to
like,
be said for
yeah.
know, like, and trust.
Oh, I'm in a mastermind group right now. The guy that I joined he has a cap of 100 people because they do, like you said, like weekly Zoom calls and that kind of stuff. So he's like, I don't want to overload, this is where we're comfortable. 100 people in a group, join the mastermind because I met the guy at a conference that I was actually working at. And he followed up with like a one-on-one like chat online and everything. And like now I've been a part of that group for like 2 years now because of that one-to-one.
The key is not I wouldn't go to a conference and say, I have to get $1,000 worth of business to make this work out. Like I go to a conference with, if I make 2 to 3 strong connections with people while I'm there, this conference will pay for itself, like guaranteed. They're either going to connect me to somebody that I'm going to consult with or work with. They're going to help me find a new program that's going to level up my skills. They're going to help me meet somebody that could be on my podcast. Just like this, like we got introduced by a third party that I met her through a third party. And like, that's how it goes. If you meet a connection that could be a super connector for you, that could literally set you in terms of your business, depending on what your business is.
100%. Absolutely. If you, like you said, that super connector, like I know a couple of those people in my life where they just like, they know everybody somehow. And it's like, I love those kind of people, but you have your own podcast. Really quick, plug that real quick. I want people to know about that.
It's called Permission to Kick Ass, and you should absolutely come on the podcast.
Oh, that would be amazing. I would love that.
It's for creative entrepreneurs, and it's less because I like this. You're geeking out over marketing. I like to geek out over marketing.
Yeah.
I also like to geek out over the beginning and the growth stages of a business, especially for creative people, where they get in their head and like, this promo's not working. I'm not making enough money, or I'm freaking out about the next step. Am I even cut out for this? And so that whole podcast is created for entrepreneurs to come on and share their struggles and their setbacks and their unexpected takeaways. I've had people talk about, can I even really call myself an entrepreneur if I took a job? The answer is yes. I had another one tell me about signing divorce papers, signing a mortgage to buy her ex-husband out of the house, and then getting laid off the very next day.
Oh.
And like how you come back from that. So that's basically the stuff that I explore. Like, how do you get your head on straight? How do you keep going? I love that stuff.
That sounds awesome.
Super hardcore.
Yeah, I would love to be on that. And I'm definitely going to be checking that out because that sounds like a really, and I love it when people nerd out. Like that shows me they have passion. So, and one reason I ask is because, have you ever heard of Podcast Movement?
I haven't.
It's a conference every year. Last year they did it virtual. This year they're going to be back in person. It's in Nashville, Tennessee this year.
I'm currently in Nashville. That's
are you serious?
My mind. Yeah.
Okay, it's in August. So check that because I'm their videographer. So I'll be there running around with the camera. Yeah, I do their video. I'm actually had a call with them today, talk about their marketing strategy, and we went through like all their ad sets and all that kind of fun stuff that I was literally nerding out over. But yeah, you should definitely check that out because they do like early bird pricing stuff, so you can get in cheaper right now. So
heck yeah. See, look, guys, y'all are hearing my marketing strategy in action right now as we're talking. Like, we're talking, we're connecting, we're geeking out over stuff, and then like, oh, do you know this? Oh, do you know that? Let me connect you. Yep. It works.
It absolutely works. And they have like 20 rooms going on. They have a different tracks. So they'll have like the brand new podcast, the monetization, the marketing track, the growth track. They even do like the true crime track, and they'll have like all the true crime podcasts doing their fiction tracks and all kinds of stuff. But it is such a good conference and it's so well put together. But yeah, if you end up going, let me know because I'd love to meet up and introduce you to a couple of people that I know that are those super connectors there that would be good people for you to know.
Oh yeah.
So that could be really cool. Let me know if you end up looking into it. But yeah, anyways, sorry, kind of got off on a tangent there, but I wanted people to know about your podcast while I was thinking about it because that's super cool. All right, Angie, I want you to tell us a story of your biggest marketing mistake.
There's so many good ones to choose from. I would say I want to tell 2 stories. So the first one was I bought in really early that I had to like cold outreach and reach as many people as possible. And so I tried cold calling, horrible experience. I tried dropping flyers. I made these homemade flyers on my dinky little home printer, and I went out at like 5 o'clock in the morning when it was still dark out and all the businesses were closed, so they couldn't see me like dropping my flyer. Didn't get any business from that, shocker. I tried cold emailing, which I was much more successful at because I'm a pretty skilled writer, and at least in email you can have like a back and forth conversation and you're not annoying someone during dinner. But yeah, so cold contacting to me just wasn't that great of it wasn't a great return. It wasn't that it didn't work, because it did, but it was much slower going and much more tedious work to get to the few people that would say yes. Whereas like when I recommended going to a conference and meeting people and asking for introductions to other people, that works like wildfire for me, just because if somebody gets along with me, then they know somebody else that's going to get along with me. And then I don't even have to waste time with somebody that goes, you said F, like, are you even a pro? Yes. I mean, pros swear, go into a closed door business meeting. You'll hear it. I promise.
Yeah. And I mean, some brands nowadays are adopting that as like their brand persona. Like they know people relate and resonate with that. So, I mean, having somebody who isn't afraid to do that, like is going to be their perfect person.
True story. When I had trouble advertising the podcast on Facebook because it has ass in the title. So I have to get a little bit creative when I promote posts there. But somebody was like, simple solution, just change the title to permission to kick butt. And I was like, thank you for your opinion. Have a nice day.
Super simple solution. Let me just change all of my personality and branding. Super simple.
Super simple. And the second mistake that I made, this one is actually pretty funny. So the easiest people that you can sell are people that you've already sold to. And so I wanted to take this idea of getting in touch with people that I've already worked with to the next level by, instead of sending them Christmas cards, I decided to send them Valentine's Day cards. Like, this is a holiday for showing your love and appreciation, so I'm going to do that. Only I didn't count on the fact that one of the clients would take this as a sign that I wanted more from him. And I was like, no, I sent cards out to like 50 people. You are not the only one that got a Valentine's Day card from me. So like he basically wrote back and what did he say? Something along the lines of, I can't help but think that there's a hidden message here and that perhaps you'd like to take our relationship to the next level. And I was like, we haven't spoken in 6 months. Where are you getting this? So I learned kind of firsthand that like some ideas can be good and still not play out the way you think because of how other people read it. And you never really know how they're going to take it.
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, because you never know how they're going to take it, you can't, for everybody out there listening, getting new to marketing, you can't be afraid to throw out those hooks. I mean, had you overthought that whole process? Like, what if one person goes back and like wants to take me on a date because of this? Like, you might not have sent it, but like it's a great story now that you're using to build your brand. It's like, hey, look what I did.
Like, I did get a $1,500 contract for that. So, you know, the cost of 50 cards plus stamps plus the time that like it basically paid for itself with one person reaching out and saying, oh yeah, I do have a project for you. Let's get to work. And then of course I had to playfully play it off with the guy that wanted to date and be like, oh yeah, you know, actually I sent Valentine's Day cards to a lot of folks, but you know, thanks for reaching out. Appreciate it.
We have all kind of creative methods of marketing if you want to work together. Awesome. And going back to like the cold reaching out, for people like us, we have like a skill set that we've developed over the years, like you with copywriting, me with video production. I just recently, or not recently, I've been doing this for the past few years. Like I'll reach out to people and offer my services to them for free to get to meet them. And, you know, like I just recently joined the local chamber of commerce here. I reached out to them and was like, hey, I would love to, because of COVID, everything, they're not doing their monthly meetups. So I was like, what's a way that I can provide a lot of value to them while also getting to join the Chamber of Commerce for free and get in front of people? So I shot videos for them of a few of their events for free. They let me join the Chamber of Commerce, and then they promoted those videos using my marketing brand, saying, thank you, Matt Peet Marketing, for creating these videos. And I got to join, and I just yesterday or this morning got the email back that I booked a $2,500 client. So I mean,
celebrate.
Exactly.
So I want to like unpack that a little bit for everybody that's listening too, because your approach, what I heard you talk about wasn't how can I get into this for free and make maximum sales? It was how can I provide value for these people in an exchange of services, right? Because joining a chamber of commerce is a service for me and my business, as well as me providing to the community. And then you did work for them that helped them advance their mission. And they turned around and said, thanks to this guy, we did a whole bunch of amazing stuff. You should check him out, which naturally met, just like the connections we've been talking about throughout this entire podcast, led to business. So like yet another example of go out of your way to help people. And I'm not saying offer everything for free all the time, because there's a limit to this, but if you're using a strategic connection like that, like, you know, that this could be a source of business. So let me go into this and see how I can help them. And maybe we could work something out. Awesome.
And I do that because like, if I ever have, which most entrepreneurs, especially like the small business owners like myself, it's just me, we'll have those downtimes where it's just like, okay, business is slow right now. It's like, that's when I'll reach out to people like Chamber of Commerce, because they're like a nonprofit, and I'll reach out to charities and that kind of stuff. And I'll make videos for them, because it helps get me out of like a productive slump where I'm not producing anything. It's like, okay, now I've got something to do. I'm going out and I'm creating a video. I'm providing value. At the minimum, I'm going to get, these people are going to like me because I'm doing stuff for them for free that's going to help their business. Even if I don't get any business. I mean,
you're getting portfolio pieces out of it that you can share with other people. You're potentially getting testimonials out of it, which you can use to close future deals, and the potential for referrals to other people that could use it.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's all around good values. I mean, if anybody out there has a skill set and you're looking to connect, use the skill set to connect. Like, I mean, that's how, have you heard of John Lee Dumas before? I got in touch with him. Yeah. I got in touch with him back in 2015 by offering to do a free video for him.
Wow. That's
and now
awesome.
like that has led to tens of thousands of dollars of business for me, because I was, and I didn't go into that being like, I'm going to make a lot of money. Like I told him, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, John, you know, I listen to your podcast. I really love it. I want to meet you. I want to make a video for you. No strings attached. You don't have to pay my flight. You don't have to pay for anything. I'll show up. And if you don't like the video, we'll drop it in the trash can and no one will ever see it. And he was like, dude, heck yes, let's do this. And ever since then, like I've been to Puerto Rico and we've done like walking tours, and like, cause that's where he lives now. Like it's really crazy how far it's come. I was just messaging Kate Erickson the other day on Instagram.
See, that's, you know, and you can, exactly. You could do this with big name people that you might not otherwise feel like you are qualified to reach out to because you're not at that level yet. You heard a legit opportunity to provide a service to somebody that has a quote unquote big name, reached out and offered it with no expectation, no strings attached, and it worked out. That happens way more often than people think.
It really does. Like you said, that business model of one-to-one networking, it's how I've got most of it. Like I got to talk to Russell Brunson the other day, like voice chat with him on Instagram because I did something similar to that. Like I reached out to him and provided value and gave him some free stuff. And like, he messaged back and we talked for a little bit. Like I'm of the mindset that if you put in the strategic work up front, you can get in touch with anybody. Now, whether that turns anything on the back end, that's a completely different story. But like, I was able to get in touch with John Lee Dumas, who in 2015 for me was untouchable. Like I was a year out of college at that point. Like I had no right being able to talk to John Lee Dumas. Like me talking to Russell Brunson, like billionaire status over there. I should have no right to be able to get in his inbox and voice chat with him for a while. Like, but if you put in the strategic work, you can talk to anybody. My next goal is to shoot a video for Chris Pratt because I just like Chris Pratt. I think he's a hilarious dude. I love that guy.
Oh, no. And I think like, that's so great too, because, you know, somebody that's famous, that's a leader in their industry, that's you know, a recognized name like that, they know when you want something from them. When your offer is because you want some of their status, some of their borrowed authority, you want them to do you a favor. So they get that so often in their contact that when there's a legit contact, like what you offered for John Lee Dumas, the whole vibe that comes off a message like that is completely different from what they normally get. And that's why it stands out, because like, I just want to do something for you. If you're cool, can I do this? If not, hey, have a nice day. Thanks for your time. With no expectation, just that value, and not attaching to the outcome and being like, if John Lee Dumas doesn't respond to me, then he's a terrible person. And clearly I suck at this. And like, it's not personal. It really isn't.
What's your favorite marketing tool and why?
Oh, email, hands down. It's the only thing that I know that like I could come up with an idea today, write a story down, make an offer at the end of it, send it down to my list and make sales, and just walk off and do whatever I want to do the rest of the day. And that's not to say that there aren't flops, but email consistently outperforms most any other channels that I know of.
So, okay. I'm going to go on this rabbit hole because I love talking about this kind of stuff because I don't have a
Yes.
ton of experience in it. I have a very small email list that I'm trying to grow and trying to be more intentional about. Right now, I think it's around 60 or 70 people. How many people, you said, you can write down a story, send an email, and with an offer at the end and make sales. How many people do you have to have on a list, do you think, realistically, to start seeing some sales of a service or a product?
Probably a couple hundred, but I mean, it
Okay.
doesn't have to be a huge list if they like what you're putting out. And then again, you're offering something of value to them that they can find useful. I remember, like, I don't have a huge list either because for years I've been the behind the guru kind of person. So I haven't really been promoting my own brand until recently when I decided to create Permission to Kick Ass. And even with my tiny list, I remember back in November, I was at an Airbnb just sitting by the campfire and my phone pinged and I looked at it and somebody had bought like a $50 product. And I was like, that is the coolest freaking thing ever that somebody just like went and bought a product and I'm by the fire and I got paid. Cool.
That's cool.
Happy day. Like I'm a natural storyteller, you might have gathered just by the way we're
Yeah.
talking here. But like I also pay attention when I'm getting a lot of laughs or a lot of like gasps and people interacting when I'm telling a story. Because I'm a full-time digital nomad, and right now I'm in Nashville. I was in Memphis a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And when I was in Memphis, there was this crazy random drunk chick on a Tuesday night that was standing outside shrieking Bohemian Rhapsody on a Tuesday at 10:30. And I was telling this story about how I was like, just what in the world is there's like a cat yowling Bohemian Rhapsody. What is going on? And I started telling this story to a couple of friends, and both of them were just like laughing and clapping and rolling. It was hilarious. And so I was like, okay, I need to tell this story somewhere because it's getting such good reactions that these aren't going to be the only people that react well to this story. The challenge is finding a tie-in to what you do, but that's a creative exercise, those
Yeah.
are
I
fun.
was like, yeah, I mean, I did that. Like, I love when I'm working, I have a TV show on in the background. Like I can't work in silence. So a
Me
lot of
either.
the time for me, it's like The Office or Friends, or I love Boy Meets World. I grew up on that. So like now that Disney Plus has it, I'm like, I'll have that in the background. So like I was watching Boy Meets World one day and took an entire episode, the theme of the episode, and basically told that story and how it connects to marketing, about
Hmm.
telling stories and like that kind of stuff. I feel like you said it's a good creative exercise to tie it back into what you're teaching.
Hmm. And
That's
it
cool.
makes people feel a connection with you because I guarantee you,
Mm.
like the person that read that on the list that was like, I'm a Boy Meets World geek too. You understand me. Matt
Yeah.
understands me. They may never reach out because like think about how often you're super busy and someone writes an email to you and you're like, oh yeah, I'll get back to that, and then you forget, or you read it and you go, oh that's good, and then you kind of move on to the next thing. People are reading it even if it doesn't feel like it. They're just not saying anything, and one day you'll say something that they go, oh man, I needed this today, or they'll write back and be like, when are you going to do a course? I need a course from you.
That's super cool because like that's one of my struggles is like not hearing back from people. It's like, is it even worth the time? Like nobody responds to the emails. Again, I've only got 60 or 70 people on my list currently. Like, is it worth the time? And it's like, I know it is. I know I need to make it a priority because that's how those people have opted to want to hear from me some more. Like
Hmm.
that's how they want to do that. Like I need to be more intentional about that for sure.
But it's hard for like the first 6 to 10 months, or like not 3 to 6 months, I want to say. Like when you're creating content and like nobody is responding, that
Yeah.
is when you have to keep going despite the fact that you're not hearing anything from anybody, because that's when all of your competition quits. When they're not
See,
seeing immediate results, they
I
give
feel like
up
yeah,
and
that
you keep going.
there's a good quote there for your card deck.
Oh,
Like you could use
fantastic.
that because that's inspirational. That's like, you know, 3 to 6 months. That's when your competition quits. So, Angie, if you could go back to when you first started marketing and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
Mm, be yourself, not who you think they want.
I love
Um,
that.
the first group of marketers that I fell in with as I was learning to get good as a copywriter were definitely like the braggadocious, super macho, we're getting all these results and crushing it kind. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's authentically you. It was not me. And so I moved from that group kind of wanting to be a little bit more buttoned down and quote unquote professional. Uh, and so, I would do my hair and makeup and be fancy and never drop an F bomb in mixed company. And one day, I was on a call with a different group of copywriters that were more open, like, here's where I'm struggling, here's where I need help with business. They weren't afraid to show this, like, I'm having trouble, can somebody help me side of it, versus the braggadocious guys that never have a bad day ever. And somebody asked this question that just like set me off on a rant. And when I rant, I am like, you can do the thing. Oh my God, let me tell you the ways. Not like pissed off rant, but like very enthusiastic rant. And I started ranting and dropping F-bombs, and somebody was like, where did that come from? That's amazing. Like, do you do that all? And I started letting down my guard a little bit more and just being me in these circles and accepting that like, this is going to be too much for some people. And that's fine. They can go, there are plenty of button down, suited up corporate suits for them to work with that are going to make them more than happy. And I am not that person. I want to work with people that have fun, that try new things, that want to do wild and crazy promotions. I once, when I was working in a corporate marketing position for a hardware chain, I pitched a scavenger hunt where somebody was dressed as a giant screw, like just running through town. And it was like, can you find the screw? Like take pictures with them. I don't even remember all the details, but it was really funny. And then I had like a golden nut, find the golden nut in the store. And I always came up with crazy ideas, and I wanted to work with people that wanted to have fun in their business. And so I think that the sooner you can embrace who you really are, the sooner you can cut out the crappy clients that suck all of the joy out of everything that you do, and get straight to working with the people that resonate with you most. And then everybody's happy.
Yeah, I love that, because I think if you've been in business long enough, especially when you're just starting out and you're like, oh, I'm going to charge a little less because I'm just getting started out, which makes total sense. You get more of those clients who are just, I found in my own personal experience, the higher paying clients trust me more, and they're just like, yep, you take care of it. And then when you give them the product, they're like, awesome, this looks great, let's keep going.
The people that pay you the least want to own you the most. And it's counterintuitive, because you feel like you're
another
offering
card
these
right
people,
there.
Yeah, you're offering these people a great deal and your expertise in this super affordable rate, and you think that they're going to be easygoing and understanding because they got a great deal, and no, they're pains in the asses. Whereas the people that I charge an outrageous amount of money to, they leave me alone to play in my sandbox, because this is where my expertise is, and they trust me to tell them, I need this, let's not do that. That's what they've hired me for, versus to be an order taker. And people love to boss around the order takers, the cheap people. They don't really boss around the experts that come in and say, no, I don't think that's a great idea. Here's why. But all my love to you. I don't think you're stupid. I just think that this is a challenge that we're not yet ready for in your business. Or here's a smarter way to use the money that I think is going to get you a return on your investment, like that, versus waiting 6 to 9 months. So,
yeah. And like you said, being yourself is going to help get past working with those people, because you're going to be able to find that target market, the people who really resonate with what you're saying, a lot faster. And I've recently discovered that in the past year, just like permission to be yourself. If that's who you are. Like, I make dad jokes with my wife and stupid jokes like all the time. It's like, that's just who I am. I'm not going to try to hide that. So like in my email stuff, like I do that because, make puns. I'm a punny guy. So like that kind of stuff, it resonates with some people. It's not going to resonate with everybody though.
Dad jokes are the best. When I worked at that retail store where the golden nut and all of that stuff, that audience, it was a chain of 100 stores, and we had an email list of like 3.5 million people. It was ridiculous. They loved horrible dad jokes and puns. I mean, I'm talking about, I once wrote an email sequence to people that had been active. So they hadn't opened an email for a while, and we were just trying to get them to come back into the store and buy with us again. And I wrote, I think the first email said, "We miss you like a power tool misses a battery. Can we reconnect?" And it got worse from there. It got worse from there. And I had so much fun doing it. And the designer had so much fun making this a pretty email. And that sequence sent out to that big of a list made something like $8.4 million over the next 60 days, because we could track them through their loyalty accounts and see how much they were spending in the store. And so they would grab our offer, they'd go into the store, they'd spend money, and we were able to attribute millions of dollars in sales to 3 emails with a corny dad joke. So
that is amazing.
To circle back to the very beginning, when I said you don't have to be the best copywriter on the earth, is that power tool battery the best copywriting on the earth? No. But was it good for the people that opened that email and read it and went, that's funny?
That's because if I open an email that has a dad joke in it, I'm going to be like, all right, let me read the email because that was clever. That is so awesome. I love that. This has been an awesome interview, Angie, and I've loved talking about copywriting. It's been super cool. But what's the best place aside from the Permission to Kick Ass podcast, which everybody should go check out right now? What's the best way for people to connect with you?
I also have a website called permissiontokickass.com. And if you sign up for my email list there, I have a 10-day audio training called 10 Days to Business Badassery, where you can hear more of the sultry sounds of my voice here. It's a little bit of tactical, it's a little bit of mindset, head trash stuff, but that's the stuff I geek out over, as you can tell. I have a Facebook fan page. I have a LinkedIn. You're welcome to connect with me. Heads up on LinkedIn, because my title says coach, I get spammed a lot. So please tell me where you heard of me and why you'd like to connect with me. And please don't make it because I help coaches explode their business, and I will accept the connection.
So many of those people. Oh my gosh. That is so
back to
true.
delivering value versus trying to make a sale, right?
Exactly. So if you're connecting with Angie on LinkedIn, Angie Colee, it's ANGIE COLEE. Make sure you tell her you heard about her on the Matt Peet Marketing Podcast, so that way she doesn't think you're spamming her. That is awesome, Angie. Thank you so much again for being on the podcast.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right, everybody out there listening and watching along, thank you for taking the time out of your day. I hope this has been encouraging and insightful as for you as it has been for me. It's been eye-opening. I can't wait to share some more stuff with you. Thank you. Go on, keep working hard, and remember that marketing matters.